Hello, everybody. Welcome back. YouTube.com/Geek Aloud. This is the Gaming Enforcement Agency. I'm Troy in the top slot, and joining me in the second slot this evening, Bully. Congratulations on the promotion, mate.
Well, I think the last couple we've done, I think we've missed Dunky. So I think at this point he's been well and truly relegated to that third spot.
All right. Well, when he's back, ladies and gentlemen, he will be officially third slotting it henceforth. Now, I should explain to the viewers, this evening's is a news edition. I'm going with the title of news edition. We will be covering the top 4 stories that all broke today or yesterday. So it's very exciting. Bully, lead us off, mate. What is that their first story, please?
Well, it's a couple of good news stories today, and hopefully we'll get some more tomorrow at the Game Awards. But for now, G.E.A. 6, the trailer that dropped earlier in the week, has amassed 101 million views, which has gone past the total for the trailer of Grand Theft Auto 5 after 12 years. So a lot of hype for this one. I'm sure you checked it out, Troy. As soon as it loaded up and you saw Vice City thrown back up again. I think for mine, that was probably my favourite setting out of all the GTA games was Vice City. It had the, that retro 80s feel. It had the Miami neon. It had the banging 80s rock tracks that I love. So I was more than happy to get back in there and see what was going on in the Grand Theft Auto world in Vice City. So it certainly blew me out of the water. The only letdown at the end of it, I think, was I think we're all of the opinion that it was most likely going to come out next year, but they've said 2025. So still a little ways to wait for that one. But I reckon there might be a few game companies scrambling and just trying to, steer clear of any 2025 release in the hope that it doesn't come out anywhere near GTA 6, because this is going to be a behemoth that will blow just about everything else out of the water.
It will, mate. Let me throw this first question at you. Do you think with 101 million views in the first day, on YouTube, is there any chance they just off that alone upped the budget of the game and gave them an extra 6 or 12 months? Like, this is hotter than we even thought it was going to be. Have some more money, boys. Take some more time. Crank it up another notch.
Well, I mean, the reality is GTA 5 came out a decade ago now. They went back after the 360 and PS3 versions and did the first-person view for the then current-gen consoles in the PS4 and the Xbox One. So they've done a bit of work around that. They've done a bit of work or continued to update and add features into the GTA Online. But apart from that, really, they've had. I would have thought they would have had probably at least 6 or 7 year run up in terms of planning, development, all the rest of it. By the time it drops, we'll be looking at probably 8 or 9 years. I would have thought so. I reckon that's more than enough. I take on board what you're saying, the hype train, but I think if rumours are led to be or proven to be true, I should say. My understanding is the budget is in excess of $1 billion as it stands at the moment. So that will be well and truly the most expensive video game that we have ever seen when it does drop. So I'm not sure that at that point they need too much more money, to be honest.
Fair call, mate. Now, do you think instead of debuting it at the Game Awards as they were intending, do you think now instead they'll do anything at the Game Awards, or will we just not hear a thing?
No, I don't think it will. I don't think we will, but it's probably not a bad maneuver because, not that it'll get lost in the rest of the Game Awards, but there's a lot going on there. You've obviously got the awards themselves, and then we're used to each year with a whole bunch of trailers dropping and that would, not that it detract from GTA 6 trailer, but for some people it sort of might get lost in the ins and outs of the actual award show itself. So bringing it forward a couple of days, I think just having their own spotlight, as we've seen, it's shown to be a massive hit online. And I think the other part is, not that I would ever think that Rockstar would be trying to be fair to anyone else, but let's be honest, if they dropped that trailer in the middle of the Game Awards, no one would be paying attention to anything else that was going on, let's be honest.
That is a fair call. Let me ask the inverse question then. How upset do you think Jeff Keighley is, and what kind of negative impact will it have on the total viewership for the Game Awards? I know for me, my highlight was like, I can't wait for the Game Awards to see the GTA 6 trailer, but now I'm like, I've already seen it. So my interest for the Game Awards has dropped as a result. How do you reckon that'll go viewership-wise?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think you might have got a couple of people that maybe not have watched just to watch the GTA 6 trailer, might have jumped in just to have a look at it. But I think for most people that watch an award show like that, the reality is they have a more than a passing interest in gaming. They've got more than a passing or more focus on just GTA 6. And, you know, for me, I sit there and I love, you know, watching it each year. It's you know, what we used to get in June with E3, really, with those reveals and the trailers and all that sort of stuff interspersed with the awards themselves. So it's almost it got into the highlight for me each year with exactly that: the releases, the trailers, the news that's coming out, and even the pre-show where they'll sit there and drop a whole bunch of trailers on you know, sort of lesser light games, maybe games that aren't going to take the spotlight or they couldn't afford to pay their way into the main award show. They have that lead in as well. So, I mean, for me, I don't think it's diminished anything. And I think for the general gaming public that, as I said, if you're watching the Game Awards, you've got more than a passing interest in video games. You're not just going out and getting, you know, NBA or NFL or a sports game each year, and that's all you do. You're interested in what's coming out. You want to see what the next sort of 12 or 18 months holds. So I don't think the reality is it's going to really detract from it too much.
Fair call. Final question on this trailer. I don't think we saw anyone, but gosh, now I'm blanking on his name. Was it Sol Rosenberg? What was the lawyer's name in GTA Vice City?
That rings a bell, to be honest. Yeah, Sol. But I can't. It's been so long since I played. I don't think I played it in 20 years, to be honest with you. And it was funny because I'd bought the redone trilogy that came out earlier was it early this year or maybe late last year that came out, and it was just full of bugs and absolute mess. My understanding is that they fixed that up, and I happened to buy it on sale for about $20 odd or something, and it's been sitting up on the shelf in shrink wrap still. So that's probably, you know, I know we spoke during the week. I actually went back and played God of War and got the platinum in that, which I had sort of passed through that. But now I'm sort of looking for the next thing to play. And based on the hype of GTA 6, I was looking up at the shrink wrap box there and thought, I might just pull out and and maybe go through Vice City there. And just before you jump in again, Troy Tigaro, thanks for joining us. And Ken Rosenberg, he's dropped the name for the lawyer for us.
It's occurred to me, Sol Rosenberg, I think, was an Adam Sandler skit. No, it was Jerky Boys. Jerky Boys did Sol Rosenberg. Anyway, I'm way off track now. Hey, Scaro, thanks for joining us, mate. Great to have you here. I personally love the trailer. Fantastic. Can't wait. I'm dying to see if they have a lawyer in there that was as charismatic as the lawyer from Vice City. That was a real high watermark for me. So I'm just, excitement's at 10. Can't wait. Sign me up. What, Bully, is story 2 this evening, my friend?
Story 2, and we go to the opposite end of the spectrum, I suppose. So we go from the hype and the interest in GTA 6 to Bungie's position at Sony. So obviously earlier in the year, probably in response to the Microsoft deal with Activision, they went out and purchased Bungie, I should say. But at the time allowed them to remain an independent studio. So they weren't entirely bought in under the banner. Sony owned them, but allowed them to basically, you know, continue on their merry way. So based on some recent earning reports that show that their main IP is Destiny 2. So income from that is about 45% below what they were expecting, Bungie. And then obviously the flow-on effect that Sony won't be making as much money out of it. So a bit of a drop-off there. I know that there's I think the last piece of DLC has been pushed till mid-next year for Destiny 2. So whether that's had any impact or not, I'm not sure. But as a result of that reduced income stream that they're projecting at this stage, there's been some big layoffs as well. So the company itself has got about 1,200 employees. They've laid off, close to 10%, so around about the 100 mark. And that was coupled with a hiring freeze as well. So, and on top of that, they've cut bonuses. They've reduced other expenditures within the company as well. So the morale, as I understand it, within the company itself has taken a pretty big hit, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm glad they didn't cut their Christmas bonuses, because I could see people really losing their mind over that one.
They have.
Oh, what do you mean? No! How can you cut Christmas bonuses a month out? Outrageous. 4-point infringement notice. Crazy.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. So that sort of shows how dire they are, their position is at the moment, and how much they really need to get back on top, especially because, for those that have been following the Last of Us Factions game, which was supposed to be a multiplayer live service style game that was being touted to be released at some stage this year, which obviously hasn't come to fruition.
If you wind your mind back enough, man, if you recall, that was originally going to launch on the disc with The Last of Us 2.
Well,
originally, the plan was for them to launch simultaneously.
Yeah, and I think my understanding was it was supposed to be sort of like a multiplayer tack on, and then it just sort of grew legs and got bigger and bigger, and that's why they took it off the release with the actual single player game itself and thought we can spin this off into something else. And for all intents and purposes, my understanding is it's near enough ready to be launched and released. Now, the interesting part, and why I bring it up, is because since Bungie came on board with Sony, they've in effect shut it down and basically said, no, you haven't got a good enough hook in there. People won't last with it, and come up with some other criticisms and basically put it on the back burner to the point where it's still up in the air, and we haven't heard one way or the other whether it's been cancelled or whether it's still being worked on and tinkered a bit. But it's interesting that Bungie have come in as almost like the golden child, and then within 6 months they're almost the poison chalice of laying off staff, massive revenue falls. And the other thing is, I'm not sure if you've seen, Troy, so the actual makeup of the board structure of Bungie itself is that they were able to retain the vast majority of their board members, with a couple of Sony executives on there as well, that were sort of just in there just to monitor how things were going. There's actually a rider in the contract when they bought them is if Sony feels that they're not meeting projected fiscal outcomes, that they can in effect take over the board. So they can put their own people in and then in effect take control of Bungie itself, which was, as I said before, wasn't the original intent. They were supposed to remain independent, but the way it's going, it would certainly seem that they're certainly heading in that direction if these cost-cutting measures don't pay off.
All right, mate, let me throw one at you. Spring it on you. Do you have your tinfoil cat handy?
Do I have my No, I don't. Because I don't. I've had to.
Just imagine the tinfoil cat image is up. Here's my wild prediction: Neil Druckmann will be the new head of Bungie.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how well that would go down, to be honest with you, because I reckon old Neil would have I was going to say he'd have a fair axe to grind, wouldn't he?
Oh, yes, he does. And believe me, they've given old Jim Cryan the flick. They're going to be promoting up. I reckon Neil Druckmann is going to step up and become the head of Bungie, and he will just take vengeance upon those who put the brakes on factions. This is going to be quite the show, I think, over the coming months.
Well, he'd probably end up getting his own way anyway, because if they were to take over the board, most of those executives on the board that would be making those big decisions and providing that advice would be the ones that ultimately would have given that information and decision to Sony to say, look, it's not in great shape. So if they would have wiped the board clean, and irrespective of who comes in, I think the damage will be done at that point.
Oh, definitely. Part of my thinking, mate, is that I can only imagine how many Hollywood executives are knocking on Neil Druckmann's door saying, come make TV shows, come make movies after the success of The Last of Us TV show on HBO. So I think Sony's counter to keep him at Sony would be a massive promotion. Like, hey, do you want to run 2 of the biggest studios?
Oh, look, it certainly would be one way to keep him, but the only thing that I would counter that with is Naughty Dog inherently for the last 15, close to 20 years have been a narrative-driven third-person adventure studio, really, with the Uncharted series and The Last of Us, their main sort of IP that they've been releasing. Now, if you counter that over to Bungie have been for basically since the Halo days in the early 2000s, they've been a first-person shooter. There is some story there, but it's a bit light on compared to when you compare it to Naughty Dog, and heavily multiplayer driven, especially once they got into Destiny and Destiny 2. So I see what you're saying, but I just don't know if it's the greatest fit just with the backgrounds they come from. But you might be right. There might be a way to keep him, and it might be a way for him to sort of, get back at some of those that have wronged him.
Yeah, and see, mate, just cast your mind back a little. Wasn't one of the major criticisms of the most recent 2 or 3 Destiny 2, DLC patch updates, call them what you will, that the story was rubbish? People were like, this story's pointless now. We don't know what's going on. Who better to bring in to right the ship for a product that's now 45% under earnings estimate than the guy who does the best stories in video games? Bring him in, let him give them some direction. Hey, here's a way better story you can tell in this universe. Off you go to the races. Yeah,
look, and that might be another way of looking at it is to get them back on track in that respect, because I think I played a little bit of Destiny 2 when it launched, but it never really hooked me more than maybe 10 or 15 hours, I don't think. But from my understanding, just the way that each of the extra content packs have been delivered, for anyone that was to jump into it now and try and have an understanding of what the background of the story is and what the current story is or the future, content packs to be dropped are, it's just a mind mess of various storylines and various factions, and there's whole ins and outs that you're almost at a point now where if you've never played it, you're not going to attract a new audience because there's just so much going on. Yeah. That unless you put all that to the side and just enjoy the gunplay, well, you sort of left there hanging, going, I don't understand what's going on. Or where are we? Who's this person? Who's that person? Because you've got no reference.
Yeah, point. Exactly. And the furthermore, mate, the launch Destiny 2 story campaign, what was that, Red War, I want to say? My best guess, it was close to Red War, was the name of the launch campaign that came on the disc, that everyone spent the first 6 months with. That is now entirely removed from the game. So the original campaign from Destiny 2 is no longer even playable. They've pulled it out of the game. So you're right. If you're a new player, you have no idea what's going on in that universe. What a chance to reset everything and start telling a new story. I wonder who'd be a good story director. Well, I think we've maybe milked this one as much as we can. Go, mate, if you've got a point. Go.
No, I was going to say just it might be a good segue into the next one when you're talking about stories, because the story number 3, Mortal Kombat 1, which in and of itself is mildly confusing because we went from Mortal Kombat 10 to was it 10 or 11 and then back to 1?
11 or 12. Definitely 11.
Well, 11 and then back to 1. So a strange bit of storytelling in and of itself. But Mortal Kombat 1, which released earlier in the year, is getting some new story DLC, and then that is to be followed by a big surprise, and that's from Ed Boon, one of the creative directors of the Mortal Kombat series itself. So it doesn't really go into what the new story is. I'm not sure if you played it, Troy. I certainly...
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, I don't think you're on the episode where Unky and I discussed it, but I have played it. I have gone hands-on with it, and it is hands down the best story ever told in any fighting game ever. Like,
but then you got to play a fighting game.
Oh, I know, mate, but you know me, I've got the arcade stick out, and I love it. I'm all about it. The old man hands don't hurt. I absolutely love it. Like, Mortal Kombat 1 is absolutely phenomenal. You're telling me there's more story DLC? So I'm going to take my money now. I'll throw it at the screen if I can. Give it to me. Give it to me now. Now, tinfoil cat, imagine it again. What do you think the chances are that the big surprise is the announcement of Mortal Kombat 2?
Oh, I don't know if they. Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 0. Why don't we just keep jumping around all over the place? I don't know. But that sort of follows on from for some DLC characters that we're getting. next week is Quan Chi, and forgive me if I've mispronounced that. I'm not a Mortal Kombat player.
And I'm not going to correct you anyway. I love Mortal Kombat, but I couldn't correct you.
And then we've got Chameleon in January. So we're still getting character drops for that. I'm not sure if I know with some of the certainly 10 and 11 that was somewhat egregious. I suppose you call it DLC, but you could pay for easy mortality, fatalities, not mortalities, fatalities, and those sort of things. You could pay money, like real world money, for one button prompts instead of having to go through and learn the actual thing. Is that in the new one?
Yeah, I can confirm. Fatalities, babalities, and what's the other one? Brutalities. Fatalities, babalities, brutalities. They all have their own tokens that you can get in-game, and at the end of the fight, you can just drop one of those tokens and off you are to the races. Watch the amazing decapitation or whatever animation.
Do you have to pay for those, though?
You can earn them in-game, but you could also pay for them directly.
Yeah. So I don't think my understanding is in the last couple that you could either do it the old-fashioned way of learning the combo and punching it out, or you could pay for the tokens. There was no earning in-game tokens to be able to do it. You had to pay one or the other.
Yeah, so the way it works now is during the story campaign, you get crypt coins, and then the crypt is like it's a sort of standalone. You'll love this, mate. Imagine Street Fighter 6, like the open world exploration bit. You know it. So in Mortal Kombat, you can play the story mode and you get crypt coins, and then you go back to the main menu, go into the crypt, and it's like an open world. There's no enemies in there. There's just various chests throughout the open world, and you can go up and spend your crypt coins and unlock the chests. And then the chests are like your random loot boxes, and some of them will give you tokens for babalities, fatalities, and brutalities.
Yeah, okay. All right. So at least there's a different way of doing it rather than, as I said, that quite egregious way of doing it in the past. But I don't. I probably don't have much more to say about it. I don't think I've played Mortal Kombat since number 2 in the mid-90s. I still remember getting one of the old video game magazines that used to be able to get down the newsagents, which I'm not sure if they even exist anymore, but getting those out with a fold out of all the fatality moves, and me and a friend sitting there and just working our way through each character and pulling off each fatality and then moving on to the next one over a period of a weekend. It was fun at the time, but I've just never, probably since then, I don't think I've ever been a fighting game fan. So I've tried to dabble in it in the past. It was on the last one, Mortal Kombat 11, was on Game Pass at one stage.
Still is.
Yeah, well, there you go. I tried to jump into it at one point, and I just don't have the
arcade stick is the word you're looking for.
Well, I don't have the arcade stick nor the dexterity or the ability to learn those moves anymore. I'm becoming quite senile, as my wife likes to put it, in my old age. So I can't remember the moves, and you don't get to pause at the end of the game and then quickly look it up. You've got to flow into it. Oh, yeah, okay, I've got to do it now. So it's, good luck to you if you can.
Man. Next time you're in the studio, we'll fire up Mortal Kombat 1. I'll hand you the arcade stick and you can be impressed as I was. And the one you were looking for earlier, what's a modern-day news agency? I tell you, mate, it's X, formerly known as Twitter. Hey, mate, what's Story 4?
Story 4. So the voice character, Roger Clark, who did Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2, has come out and said that Rockstar are definitely in the throes of making number 3. But that from your news agents on X, formerly known as Twitter, has come out and sort of said that, yes, they will be making it, but he might not be involved. And I wouldn't be surprised given the fact that GTA 6 took, well, by the time that comes out, would have been 12 or 13 years. Between those
2015?
Between 13, because it was prior, it was prior to the PS4 and the Xbox One coming out.
Oh, that's right, it was 360. I keep
It was a 360 and a PS3 game originally, and then Red Dead Redemption 1, I think that was a 2010, 2011 game.
Yeah, I'd go 2010 for Red Dead 1.
So we're talking almost a decade between those games. So, he's saying he's not going to be involved. That's probably, he might be in a nursing home by the stage to actually decide that that Red Dead 3 is about to come out. But I'll be brutally honest, as much as I'm excited for GTA 6, if they had dropped a trailer announcement on Monday saying that Red Dead 3 was coming out before GTA 6, I would have quite happily accepted that. I have a lot more time for Red Dead than I do GTA. I think just the world building's better. The cast of characters is better, and just the storytelling and the gameplay for mine is much better than GTA 6. But they're both going to be fantastic games. Let's be honest.
They are like my two boys, mate. I love them both dearly. I don't love one more than the other, but they are vastly different experiences. I love them both. How about this for a wild idea? Tinfoil cat me up again, Bully. What if, as a make good for the GTA 6 trailer launching accidentally pre-Game Awards, what if Rockstar's make good to Jeff Keighley was some form of Red Dead Redemption 3 teaser trailer, something like this?
Well, as long as it's not another remake of Red Dead 1 and doing nothing to it and charging us full price of a game, okay, do what you want. Do what you want.
Did I tell you I've gone hands-on with that port, mate? And they did a good job with it.
Well, they might have, because I think around the same time they announced it, I actually pulled out my physical copy of Red Dead on the Xbox 360. I threw it into the Xbox Series X. It's upscaled. It runs better, looks better. And it cost me nothing.
Perfect work. All right, Bully, that's going to do it for this evening. Thank you all very much for watching. Bully, great to be hosting G.E.A. again with you, my friend. Fantastic work this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, mate.
Tagaro, thanks for tuning in. Anyone else who was viewing live, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I don't have enough hands to even look at the chat. I got no idea what's going on in there. Thank you very much for watching. Keep your eyes across the channel, of course. Let's Install's always going up. Bully, what else could you do with the channel?
Like it, subscribe it. You'll never miss it.